Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you to all the witnesses for your testimony, which has been extremely clear and very forthright as well. My community was horrified to learn that all 3 members of the Rahimi family perished in the shooting down of PS 752. And at the vigil that the town of Whitchurch Stouffville held for them, it was really obvious that they had become such well-loved members of the community. And it was incredibly moving to hear from residents in my community how such exemplary Canadian citizens had been shot down. So my first question is to Ms. Fox. You intrigued me in one thing that you said, that there had been 8 previous flights that left Tehran Airport prior to PS 752. Did you ask the question, I'm sure you did, how did the radar system somehow misalign simply prior to 752? Was there any explanation how others had left the airport safely and this particular flight was subject to being shot down?
Ms. Fox.
Mr. Chair, to be clear, the 8 aircraft that departed was after Iran launched missiles into Iraq, and Iran's report suggests a scenario whereby the radar had been offline for a certain period of time. We were not able to obtain any additional information to validate that one way or the other.
Thank you. In terms of ICAO's Annex 13, Ms. Fox, if you were to rewrite the conditions around investigations, what would they look like if you had the ability to change them?
Ms. Fox.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to ask Mr. Tasker to take that question because he was the one who presented the paper at ICAO last month.
Mr. Tasker.
Thanks very much, Madam Chair. So as mentioned, what we proposed in our working paper is that the Accident Investigation Group panel, which is a panel of worldwide experts in accident investigation, come together to answer those questions. We have ideas. I have ideas. Ms. Fox has ideas. Our team has ideas in ways to bolster independence, to bolster credibility, to bolster transparency. There's many methods to do that, whether there's different grades of who gets accredited representative status and et cetera, possibly. So there's many ideas that we can do to help aid that. But what we determined was that it would be best if those ideas come from that group of experts. If they get pushed by us singularly, they may not get as much traction and have as much success.
Thank you. Ms. Jessic.
Thank you. And now to High Commissioner Goodale. In terms of our diplomatic efforts, is there any danger in Canada using rhetoric that might be too inflammatory? I really appreciate your forthrightness today, but how are you balancing the risks?
Mr. Goodale.
Well, that's part of the art of diplomacy. And I guess as someone who was actively involved in the political life of Canada for some 45 or 50 years, I'm still on a learning curve of transitioning from politics to diplomacy. But I think it is important to be absolutely clear about what we feel about the culpability that's involved in this situation. So I think strong language is important. It has to be accurate, but I think we have to leave no doubt that Canadians feel very strongly about the deaths of 138 people who were attached in one way or another to our country. Secondly, I think we have to work very hard to make sure, whether it's on the issue of sanctions or the negotiations for reparations, or the changes that we would want to see made in ICAO and so forth, see that we're not moving unilaterally alone. We need to have the world community come to the same conclusions that we have. So we have to be building a coalition. And I, in this regard, want to pay tribute to Foreign Minister Marc Garneau, who at the G7 foreign ministers meeting about a month ago made sure that PS 752 was on the agenda, and that the G7 foreign ministers collectively condemned what had gone on, and made it clear that they did not believe any transparent or comprehensive investigation worth its name had been completed in this case. In other words, Iran had not done what it was obliged to do under the international community. You need to pursue all the steps in the proper order, making sure that you don't mess up your jurisdiction ultimately to get into the International Court of Justice if that's what this takes. But I believe that Canada needs to be vigorous in leading this effort internationally and bringing others along with us.
Thank you, High Commissioner, and thank you, Ms. Jacek.
Thank